Animate Project 2, Talking Kiosk Interface. We are continuing Stage 1 with Edit Symbol Properties on page 95. The control buttons are the final pieces of artwork for the movie that we are creating. The buttons were created in Illustrator, but they were not symbols. We are going to need to change those into symbols. In the library panel, expand the Interface AI file and locate the Illustrator symbols. Right-click the Shoes button symbol and choose Properties. In the dialog box, choose Button for the type and click OK. Scroll down and, using your selection tool, select the Shoes and Apparel button on the stage. Down in your Properties panel, open the top menu and choose Button. Unlike changing the contents of a symbol, changes to the symbol type don't come up in the placed instances. When you change the type of a symbol that's already been placed, you also have to change the instance in the Properties panel as well. So do the same thing for the other three symbols and convert them to buttons. Now that our buttons are actually symbols, we are going to define the various states of the buttons as well as edit the artwork so that the buttons seem to move. If you don't have your Align panel open, go to Windows and select Align. And we're going to work with the Shoes and Apparel button first. I'm going to zoom out just a hair so I can get all four of those buttons on my screen. Before we can edit the buttons, go into Control and make sure to turn off Enable Simple Buttons. Otherwise, we can't select them. Then double-click Shoes and Apparel so that we can edit the symbol in place. The crosshairs in the middle of the symbol artwork identify the symbol registration point, and all measurements for placed instances begin from that location. In your Align panel, make sure that the Align to Stage option is active, and then click Align Right Edge. The right edge of the symbol artwork is now aligned to the symbol registration point. Because you're editing the symbol in place, you can see the effect of the new alignment relative to the overall file artwork. This illustrates that the registration point is a fixed point. The artwork is the thing that moves, not the other way around. Click Scene 1 in the edit bar to return to the main stage. With the Shoes and Apparel button selected, click the current X value in the Properties panel to access it. Type 1034 in the highlighted X field and then press Enter to apply the change. As we explained, the symbol registration point is the origin of measurements. When we change the X position, you're defining the horizontal location of the symbol registration point for the selected instance. Because the stage for this file is 1024 pixels wide, we're placing the right edge of the button 10 pixels past the stage edge. So in the next few steps, we're going to use this position as the basis for changing the object's position when the user moves their cursor over the button. Double-click the Shoes and Apparel button again to enter back into the symbol stage. The timeline converts over to the button states. We're going to place a keyframe in the button's overframe, and with that selected, in the Properties panel, Select the X value to access the field, put your insertion point after the existing value, and type in -10 and hit enter. That just slid the shoes and apparel over. We have a new position of -245. We're using a math operator to change a position a set distance. Go back to the main stage and you'll see that the shoes and apparel will jump over. If we go up to Control, Enable Simple Buttons, you can see how that shifts. Go back to Control, turn off the simple buttons. Repeat those steps for the 3 remaining buttons. And then select Control, Enable Simple Buttons, and test each of your buttons. Go back to Control and turn off Enable Simple Buttons. And then we're going to organize our library a little bit. Go into the Interface AI file and make sure it's expanded. Click the Illustrator Symbols folder. Let's close that down just a little bit. And we're going to pull that out and drag that to an empty area at the bottom of the stacking order. Maybe. That's actually going to place it at the top. Now you can open it and see that the buttons are still in there. Double click the name to change the name to Buttons. And now select the Start Over button and drag that up and place that inside the buttons. Double click the Interface AI folder to rename it Component Artwork. Click the Mouths AI Assets folder and drag it up into the Components artwork. Click in an empty area in the bottom of the panel to deselect all the assets and folders. And now create a new folder and call it Mouth Graphics. Now select Mouth 1 through Mouth 8 and drag that into Mouth Graphics. The Mouths AI graphic symbol can now be deleted. Collapse all of your library folders and we'll continue on with the next stage.